Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and we have the privilege of bringing you this midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration so that you are not only living your best life, but also enjoying it in a relaxed, easy, and prosperous way. So welcome to Wow Wednesday. This is one of the many ways that we are here to support you, bring you together in connection, to collaborate so that we can all continue rising together to be the difference makers that we all are. We know that you have in your heart is planted a desire and a mission to make a difference, and we're here to make sure that you do so and you expand your reach and you expand your income. So if this happens to be your first time joining us, be sure to visit womensprosperitynetwork.com and see all the different ways that we support you and bring our community together so that we can all rise at the same time. Isn't it said that a rising tide lifts all boats? So let's go ahead and come together and raise up the lives of the people that you're here to impact so that the world is a better, brighter, happier, more loving place. A couple of quick announcements. We do have our 2-day legendary Level Up workshop happening. We only offer this event twice per year, and it's coming up June 16th and 17th. And you can get the information about that out on our events calendar. But when you do it, go there and put in the secret code save 50, all capitals, and you'll save $50 off your ticket if you don't have one already. So make sure you go ahead and grab that. And right now, I am going to bring on the person you are all here to learn from, connect with, and grow in love with, Heather Lee. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Nancy, and all of the lovely women that are on this call who are really committed to love, whether it's for themselves, which is where we always need to start, and then also that emanates out to other people. So thank you for this opportunity, Nancy.
You are most welcome. It is absolutely my pleasure and my purpose, and I can't wait to learn more about consciously creating your love story. And we're going to dive into that topic in just a moment. Let me tell you a little bit about Heather Lee. She is an author, a speaker, a conversation and retreat facilitator who brings her leadership skills in organizational change, personal growth and development, and executive coaching to work with individuals where it is closest to the heart in their personal love relationships. And as an aside, I would just to have you all reflect on really the importance of a heart-love relationship has in every aspect of your life. If your home, if your heart is unsettled, you can't concentrate, you can't think. Like, this is so important and not to be overlooked. So just wanted to drop that in and the importance. And even if you're in a great relationship right now, let's talk about consciously creating your love story so that it can be even better. Heather is passionate about shining a light on outdated relationship thinking and limiting beliefs so that we can co-create a world where every woman has a voice and a choice, because there is nothing more attractive than a woman in love with her own life. And you're that, I'm that, I want to be more of that. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Nancy. So if you would have asked me back, well, I shouldn't date myself here, but many decades ago, if you would have asked me if I was consciously creating my love life or my love story, I probably would have unconsciously answered that by saying, oh, of course I am. I know exactly what I'm doing, right? But then back in 1995, I took an executive development course and I made a heavy investment in myself with a company called Gap International. And I learned a model. And, you know, a model is not a law. It's just a perspective, right? It's a way we can look at our lives, look at a situation through a different lens. But the model is, and probably many of you have used it, is thinking equals actions equals results. Mm-hmm. So I really took that to heart. And in the business forum where I was at, the model thinking equals actions equals results, that was being applied to what is the results in my revenue? Okay, if my revenue's dipping, if there's, less money coming in, if there's less customers, then what's my thinking that's contributing to that, right? What are my actions consistent with my thinking that are contributing to the results I have, one way or the other, which is the good news, right? They can be great results. They can be results that we know need to be addressed. So I thought, okay, great for business. And yes, I applied it in my business forum, but it's like, what does that look like if I apply it here to what means the most deep in my heart, right? So it's very revealing when I looked at my love relationships through that lens. So I'm going to tell you a quick little story here that demonstrates this. All right. I have, at this point in time in my life, it's 1996, and I have already been married and divorced, and I've now been single for about 8 years. Okay. So I'm dating, and my best friend and I decide to move in together. And I have all my stuff packed up. I'm driving over to her house, and I am paralyzed. Like, I have to pull the car over to the side of the road because I cannot move in with her. And I'm trying to figure out what has me that I don't have it, right? What's my thinking that has got me so stuck? And so the first rule, right? Get in communication with somebody. Let's have a conversation so we can reveal, unconceal this challenge. So I get on the phone and I call her, and we start walking it back and looking at what the thinking is that is creating me being paralyzed. You guys will laugh your what's off, because I traced it all the way back to when I was 5 years old. My grandmother was going through her second divorce. And as you know, way back then, a lot of women really depended upon men for the roof over their heads, right? And my mother, with myself and my brother, drove across the country from California to Florida to get her and drive her back to California to live with us. And I'm 5 years old, sitting in the back of the seat of that car. And my grandmother says, always own your own home so you can throw them out of it.
Ooh.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, that has had me be so independent. A 5-year-old stuck in her 5-year-old thinking, right, from her grandmother, has been the person signing all the mortgages. I mean, we're just like, a 5-year-old has been signing mortgages, right? And just laughing at myself and realizing I was afraid that if I moved in with somebody and I didn't own the paper on the house, they could throw me out of it and I would be living under a bridge. Now, is that true? No, but that's what was running the show, unconcealed from me, because I had not looked at my own thinking inside of relationship.
Well, and
now,
can I just comment on that?
Absolutely.
I was raised by a single mother of 4 children who instilled something similar in me about, always have your own way, make sure you don't have to rely on them. And I'm just now getting this. So thank you for sharing in your story. And I bet lots of other people are seeing themselves, in some fashion in this story. And what's interesting, I would imagine that having that 5-year-old decision, the decision made when you were a 5-year-old, run the show, impacted your relationships in other ways as well.
You are 100% correct. And that's what I thought I would ask the audience. Is like, okay, so how much partnership do you think was available to me with another person?
Yeah.
Probably zero, right? There was no room for them. So that was a huge barrier to me, even having a partnership with somebody else.
Sure. So you have this realization and this is with a friend. Was this a romantic partnership, or this was a friendship?
This is my best friend for years.
Yeah. And a way to support each other at this particular time, right?
Correct.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So you have this realization. Now, what do you do about it?
So Exactly. And that's why I didn't know if anybody wanted to put anything in the chat, how much partnership capacity exists, right? With that kind of belief that you always have to own whatever it is.
Mm,
And really, and that goes both ways. How much dependence on somebody else has been put into your thinking, and how much independence on somebody else has been put into your thinking? So maybe the audience might want to chime in around their thoughts or their thinking in the chat feed over there, Nancy.
yeah, we'll get that going in just a
Uh-huh.
little bit. So that's
Yep.
perfect.
Because like you, it makes a difference in my business and in my relationships. So if I don't have any space to have a partnership, how much can I really expand my business if I'm not available for partnership, right? The same thing with a personal relationship. How can I join with somebody else to create a powerful partnership in love and, co-create from there? So that's where our first section that you and I were talking about, Nancy, is what's driving your love bus? What are the thoughts that are driving your love bus towards dependence or independence?
Mm,
So,
right.
for example, Mary Kay said it best, a man is not a plan, but how many people have been raised? You need to find a man with money so he can support you. You just look at some of that thinking that has been very unfair to men.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and Alexandra shared in the chat, independence in my life, and I for women who may have been, left by men in one way or another, right? The pattern could be either go find another man, or if you don't ever want to let that happen to you again, make sure you're independent. Hello, that was me.
Yeah, I took this a step further, and we're talking about the words up leveling. You hear the words trending quite a bit, and I looked at my own life. So part of my love relationship blueprint program is actually looking at the influencers. So that's those major people in your life, right? Your parents, your siblings, your, grandparents, whoever, right? Those are key influencers that you may not realize have given you hand-me-down beliefs and thinking that might be running your love bus that you're unaware of. Okay. Then, and some of them are good ones, and some of them might not serve you in what you want to do with your life. So it's not like they're bad beliefs. Just are they serving you for what you want to create? And so I do that whole I'm going to say a timeline, right? So I can see over time what beliefs may have come down, but then there's also the I'm going to say personality traits.
Okay.
So for example, when one of my clients did the love relationship blueprint program, she was able to see that being overly responsible and a lot of caretaking beliefs and traits had come down into her own personality, so much so that she was actually a disabling factor in her relationships by doing too much for people, by depleting herself over giving and not allowing other people to do some things that she really didn't need to step in and take care of.
Interesting. And you know what I'm picking up from these examples that you're giving is it's worthwhile, and I could be off base, but it's worthwhile to take a look at how your life and your relationships are operating. Is there a way that you feel, you don't get enough support, you're not getting the help you need, you're giving too much, or maybe you are so overwhelmed with responsibility you don't see any way out. Like all of that in this relationship blueprint can be traced back, and with the knowing that maybe this relationship or burden trap that you're stuck in doesn't have to be that way, but you can't see a way out because you're looking through the lens of all of that past history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm reminded this weekend I was with a woman in a workshop who is caretaking for her 93-year-old mother. She's got her daughter she's taking care of. Her husband is just like the caretaking is overwhelming, and there's she does not see that there's any way out or through this
Mm.
without, carrying the bricks, every step of the way. And it sounds like something like this of really unwinding it would create that space to see where things could be different.
It does open up a space, and more than anything, you can see your own pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, a lot of times, what do they say? The definition of an insanity is doing the same thing over and over, but expecting a different result.
Yes.
And so if I keep taking my same self into the next relationship and the next relationship and the next relationship, my results are not necessarily going to change.
Mm-hmm.
So we always know our change happens within. And so looking at that whole pattern over time and seeing those things that you didn't realize were there can just be revealing, and you never know what it's going to unconceal for you. But the slightest little change in thinking can make a huge opening in your life or a relationship with a loved one.
Mm-hmm. So I want to ask you a question and unwind a moment to see. So you took this professional development course, discovered this thinking equals actions equals results, and now you're really focused on, I see the book in the background, is he Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? Which we love. And I'm just wondering, how did your arc go to focusing in this area of consciously creating your love story?
That story. Thank you for that wonderful question, Nancy, which really kind of brings us to the second section of, reframing the past can really impact your future. So as I looked over all of my past relationships, and for those of you that I'll just share this little tidbit. So when a woman is in love with her own life, and I'm sure you all have experienced this, you are so attractive. It's like bees to honey, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you've had that experience. And so I've had a few marriage proposals, and I've been married twice. I mean, I've been married 3 times, divorced twice. And there was another marriage proposal in there where I was engaged. And then, of course, there's been some dating, right? And I looked at all of that history, and there used to be this thinking, and many of you might have thought it yourself, oh, that marriage was a mistake. Why did I do that? Oh, why did I date that person? Oh, that person's this, that, all of this otherness and focusing on that. And I thought, I really need to reframe this story. And I looked at every single person along my love story timeline, whether it was my father, my mother, my grandmother, all the men I dated, married, divorced. And I really looked for the joy, for the soulful evolution that they helped me expand into.
Oh, big. That's a big reframing. That's good. Say that again.
It was, I will. And here's a question for you, right? How many of you have bought into the belief that there's only one soulmate, that there's only one Prince Charming, that there's only one? There are almost 4 billion men and 4 billion women on the planet. So I really thought to myself, have I limited my own evolution by thinking I should only be in relationship with one person? And so I started to look at all of these individuals as my soulmates. And what did they help my soul gain, grow, expand into? So that's how I reframed it. And so when you read this, you're going to read the essence of Mr. Childlike. You'll read the essence of Mr. Knight in Shining Armor. You'll read the essence of Mr. False Witness. So they're all in there. And I've just written about what did I learn from them about myself? How did I expand? What were my new choices? So reframing the past can really impact your future by looking further at any hand-me-down beliefs that are in your timeline or that have been trending, And then you're free to choose. It can liberate your mind to choose something different for yourself based on what you want next in your life. Not what mom wants, not what society wants, not what your ethnic customs want, not what your religious church, none of those things, right?
And
It's
not
just
what
like,
your 5-year-old thinks she wants. Because let's think about it. We're making many of these decisions that create the beliefs, and at a young age, we're making decisions that shape our future from the intellect of a 5-year-old.
exactly.
We have a lot more information. So I always think about if whatever incident happened to you that very first time at age 40, you would interpret it very differently. Right. And that's the value of really circling back on all of this. Now,
Mhm.
it is the book, Is He Mr. Right or Mr. Right Now, that goes through all of these different types. Is that what I was just hearing? And we have a surprise. So stay tuned. We got something good for you. Listen up. So tell us about the book.
Um, so I literally walk through major influences and influencers. And then I have questions at the end of every chapter that are introspection questions. I'm not a certified relationship coach. I don't have therapy. I mean, I don't do any of that. I'm literally just walking you through my own journey and process, right? And then asking questions so you can reveal your own intuitive brilliance that you have inside of your own heart, right? When you get quiet and still and listen to the answers to those questions.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm going to drop in a secret right now, is that in addition to being able to work with Heather and join her for a group call that we'll tell you about in a moment, she's giving away a copy of Is He Mr. Right or Mr. Right Now? And I'll let you know how you can grab that in just a few minutes. So stay tuned and listen up. It'll be very fun. So the last piece we're going to cover before we open up for Q&A is about visioning your love story. So let's touch upon that for us, please.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm sure many of you have had experiences with either journaling or writing down affirmations, or maybe you've done some guided imagery, or you've created your own vision board or your vision wall. A lot of people use those modalities, right, to help them stay in the vibration of the things they want to attract to themselves. Mm-hmm. And so it's actually a skill I have used in business since the 80s. And I've worked with people on doing a lot of, visioning about the things that they want and being in that vibration. So over time, with all the things that I've not only attracted to myself, but supported other people in doing, I thought, wow, I've done this in business. I've done this with employees. I've attracted homes, cars, whatever, right? That I've wanted. And then I thought, can I apply this to my heart? The place where it matters the most. And especially after being married and divorced twice. The thinking I've had to overcome, the judgment from others I've experienced that I write about in my book, that it's just like, one of the things was, oh, you've already been married once, it's over, right? Married once, and that's all the chances you get. And
or I don't know how to pick them. That was my story. I had a bad picker. That was because I've been married and divorced a couple of times in and out of relationships. And finally, I was just like, nope, not even going to bother anymore because I don't know.
I don't know how to pick them. I had another customer who actually, when she went through this, she realized she had internalized that she was damaged goods. After her second divorce, she had decided she was damaged goods and she could only have dogs as her companions. And brilliant woman, extremely talented, And so it's just unconcealing that thinking and freeing it up. So what I did was I went again back through my relationship timeline, and I identified the key qualities that were so important to me that I wanted for a partnership match. Mm-hmm. So I was really interested in somebody who is a match energetically for me, who was a match with regard to work ethic, a match with regard to the way we felt about our families.
Mm-hmm.
So there were just, and our spiritual beliefs. So I looked at multiple areas about what was really critical that I wanted to attract to myself. And then I created, so I'm going to pull it here. I'm gonna, as I walk away from the camera, I should have had it up here. But I actually, I created this back in 2005. And this is actually a vision journal with pages that are actually also in the book.
We're having a little trouble saying it.
That's okay. It's actually in the book too, the pages and the way I laid it out. So the end of the book, the last chapter is called Truth Serum. And the reason why it's called Truth Serum is when I actually had summarized everything and that I wanted. And then I created pictures to match that. So that way, when I meditated with the pictures, I could really feel the presence of this other being in my sphere. And I did that night after night after night, just with my cat, just feeling into my future. Mm-hmm. And then I got an inspirational nudge. And I say that really intentionally, because being in action, to just be in action is not necessarily the energetic direction you should put yourself in forward motion.
That's that insanity, doing the same thing over and over again.
Exactly. You want to take inspired action because that is your higher soul. That's your, right. That's your higher self guiding you. Mm-hmm. And so I got this nudge to put my profile on Match.com. So I did. And literally within 3 days, Michael showed up. And we had a couple dates and we were so honest. I made a joke about it. I said, it's like we're on Truth Serum. But we were just straight up honest. Anyways, bottom line is that's how I envisioned and use all of those properties and skills, right? To raise my own vibration to the point of for me to be at the point of which I wanted to attract, if that makes sense.
So inquiring minds want to know, are you with Michael?
Smart question. We have been married almost 17 years now. Our very first, actually it wasn't, it was our third date. I had him over for dinner at my house and I handed him, how honest we were, I handed him my vision journal.
Wow.
And he read it, the whole thing, while I was finishing up cooking. And he turned around and looked at me and he said, I am every single one of those, which there's 120 plus items that I wrote in here that was important to me. He goes, I'm all of those except for 2. And I said, my answer was not yet. Yep, not yet. Yeah, he was concerned about his salary. And I wanted somebody who was a match to the level of revenue I was generating. I mean, it's to me, I wanted a match, right? Financially, spiritually, energetically, all those things. And good enough is not good enough. How many times have we been told to settle for good enough relationships, right? Oh, he's got a roof over your head. He's a nice guy. He goes to work. That's good enough. Well, right? How many times have you heard the words, yeah, well, he doesn't hit you, right? I mean, just crazy talk.
So here's a question, and I'm going to give you my question, then we're going to open up, and I'm going to let you know how you can get a copy of the book as a gift, as well as how you can go buy it and all the other good stuff. My question is, we're talking a little bit about attracting that relationship. What do you do if you're in a relationship that is less than satisfying?
Is that for everybody or just for me?
For you.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay, great. Very good. So I actually write about that in several different chapters because there's been multiple relationships I've been in that have either evolved to a point of no more evolution, meaning that individual was not willing to expand and grow along with me. So we were literally no longer energetic matches. And there's a level of honesty, and sometimes that's not easy for people to build a muscle with. But I have some exercises in here where you can get into the inquiry of it, right? And to me, there's just a level of honesty you have to have with yourself. Why am I staying, or why am I not going? So there's one of the chapters is called Stepping Over Signs. And I literally list all the signs I stepped over because I wanted that marriage to work, and all the things and I call it the weeds in your garden, right? And this is something all of you might want to write down if you have a pen. If you want to look at your own love relationship or any relationship, right? In your business or, your families, what am I stepping over? What am I tolerating? What am I not addressing?
Mm-hmm.
What am I putting up with? And be honest about those answers. And then it's like, okay, what could we do, right? To have a conversation. My husband and I have had many conversations over the last 17 years. We literally just combined our finances last December. So we had this whole conversation about, we both brought in homes, we both brought in 401, you know what I mean? We both brought in at a later age. You have a lot of those things. And so we were keeping them separate, and then we had a joint account. And then it was like, hey, what would it look like for our partnership to actually really combine our finances, lean in on joint goals, and go for it? My husband goes, that would be expletive, off the hook, amazing. When I made that suggestion, he goes, that would be groundbreaking for us.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what we have co-created together in less than 6 months.
Wow.
It really is. And I can go more into that later, but I know we have a format. So
Yeah, it's all perfect. It's all perfect. I'm going to open up for everybody for questions in just a moment. And one of the takeaways from that last story you shared is you've been together 17 years. That agreement for you came about just last year, you said.
the finances, yes, we keep evolving our partnership.
Yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful. Yeah, so take a look at in your relationship, ask those questions. You definitely want to get the book. And here's what we're going to do. So first of all, I'm thinking of a number because I don't know how to best do this. I'm thinking about a number from between 1 and 10. And the first person to write the correct number in the chat or on Facebook wins the book. All right, Carrie, no, that's not the number. Olivia Jones, you win. So the winner is Olivia Jones.
Perfect.
So
I'm writing that down.
and I'll make sure
Yep.
you get her information. And
Perfect.
did you want to talk about your other book too, Good to Greatness?
Oh, absolutely. Just briefly, I will. So Good to Greatness literally just got released in the last 3 weeks.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thank you so much. What's the wonderful part about this is a collaboration between myself and 19 other business leaders in all areas, whether it's health innovation, financial innovation, your love relationships, all kinds of good stuff. And so what we are doing is we have a reset collective where we all focus on our thinking and trying to liberate our minds to see what's next and expand ourselves. So we collaborated on a book. Mm-hmm. And so I have one chapter that's in here, and then there's also 19 other leaders, but I'd love to give this away to somebody as well.
Oh, we're going to give that one away too?
Yes.
I love it. All right, here's what we're going to do. For the second book, I'm thinking of a number between 11 and 20. First person to write the number down wins. Nope, Carrie's so close. Nope, not yet. Keep them coming. Put a number in the chat between 11 and 20. Nope, keep guessing. It's got to be there. There's only, 9 or 10 choices. Nope. Looking on the Facebook. Nope, I still don't see it. Isn't that fascinating? Process of elimination. There's only a couple of numbers left. Nope. Yep, Alexandra Van Horn. Number 13 was my number. So there you go. Alexandra Van Horn is the winner of the book, Good to Greatness. Awesome, awesome. All right, Heather, I know we're going to have lots of people who want to ask you questions, and thank you for those generous gifts. I'm going to get it set up so you can ask your questions in just a moment. And so if you're on Facebook, go ahead and give us the questions in the comments down below. If you're here with us live on Zoom, you can go ahead and unmute when I call on you, and we'll get your question in queue. If you're on your phone, you'll hit *6. In the meantime, Heather, you do a bi-monthly free experience that people can get a part of, and then you also have this relationship blueprint. So talk about those two things, and I'll make sure the link to connect with you gets in the chat.
Thank you, Nancy. So you can, if you go to my website, you can sign up for the bi-monthly, so every other month. It's just a coaching call, and I'm really just facilitating a conversation around relationships, and anybody can submit a topic they'd like to talk about. So that doesn't cost you a thing. If you want to sign up there, happy to include you in that call. And then the second thing is, I do, and you've heard me talk about it a couple different times, my love relationship blueprint. So there's a couple different phases to that, where you're identifying your major influencers and influences and unconcealing those. And then you're looking at your relationship timeline. And then there's also a huge section on working on yourself and loving yourself more and creating a sacred self-love program, because you're the foundation from which you're attracting that love relationship, whether it's with yourself or somebody else, if that's what your choice is. That course normally is double what I have it here for Women's Prosperity Network. So it's on sale 50% off. If you'd like to register for that, then not only will you get the course materials, but you'll be working with me.
Beautiful, beautiful. So thank you for that generosity, both in you're doing the bi-monthly coaching as well as the relationship blueprint. Can we get your books at your website as well?
You can. The link will just take you to Amazon.
Okay, perfect.
So it's actually on Kindle. It is also paperback, and then I also recorded it in audiobook. My husband and I kind of recorded it together.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. All right. So you want to go to consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com. So consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com/services. And you'll see all the great ways for you to continue creating your love story with Heather. So beautiful. Let's go ahead and start opening up for questions. So Alexandra Van Horn, I see your line is open.
Hello, hello. Wonderful conversation here. I love it. So my story that I have now is that, okay, so I'm 68 and I think, okay, and I'm building a business and I'm thinking, okay, I don't have enough timeline. I know this sounds negative, enough timeline to like create a relationship, find out it's not working, and recoup the losses.
Thank you for your honesty. You're speaking truth. That's good.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, business first. And if the other thing happens, it happens, you know. So any ideas on that? Any mindset shifts that you would offer?
On that one. So let me ask you a question about, because you said it there, business first.
Yeah. That's true.
You did, yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. So is your and that's what's wonderful. When we start to listen to what's coming out of our mouth, you know, we can go, oh, that is my priority, right?
Yeah.
So if your business is first, is there an opportunity to think about how important is this love relationship to you on a scale of 1 to 10, Alexandra?
Well, with the right, you're talking about with the right person, obviously, or we're talking about my love with my business. Okay, with the person.
Yeah, with
the right person, it's a 10.
With the right person, okay.
Yeah. But of course, you know, like we said, is it Mr. Right or Mr. Right now? So,
mm-hmm. And there can possibly the mind shift might be. To me, I was exploring these men as Mr. Right now until different. Like, let's just have fun. Let's just explore what it means to be human beings. Let's just explore the things we like, dislike, right? Because they're really providing a lot of information to you. And if you keep track of those things, you go, oh, I really like this. They're helping you fine tune. Sometimes they can even be the contrast for what you really want. A lot of times, I think sometimes people don't attract what they want because they're not clear about what they want. And look at our swipe right, swipe right. Oh, you're a match, right? Just because I'm attracted to your picture, whatever one you posted. So it's really a short it's not necessarily consciously creating your love story. But what if your relationship was first? What if your heart was first? And you might want to ask yourself some questions. Why isn't my heart first? Why isn't my love relationship first?
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a right or wrong answer. It's just information.
Right.
And unwinding that, backtracking, what are the beliefs that brought me here, previous relationships, and
Right. Yeah. When independence being a strong
yeah.
theme in my life, be
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't want to sell out and have somebody complicate my life and have to check in with them.
What if they made it easier? Like,
Right. Good point. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's my
Mhm.
ideal. It's somebody we could, actually build the business together, and have a great life
Oh,
together. Yeah.
Now, isn't that great? You already started shifting your conversation just right there with just the questions, right? Because you could attract somebody who could be an amazing shoulder to shoulder partner with you in this business, who loves it just as much as you do.
Right. Right.
You could say, I want to attract somebody who is going to also know how to balance business with our love life.
Right.
So that we have time for ourselves to travel or do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful for your honesty and your sharing. And you yourself already started to identify some of the resistance. They might complicate my life. They might,
Yeah.
hold me back. That I might have to answer to them, right? Instead of two sovereign beings who are whole in and of themselves, coming together for a greater purpose than just their individual agendas.
Right. Right.
And just, I mean, this, Alexandra, and most of you out there know this, and actually Heather knows this as well. Just a year ago, after being single for probably almost 15 years, I fell in love with an amazing man who's a vibrational match, who we're shoulder to shoulder. I love the way you describe that. And like I dreamed it would be possible, and then it was. So
yes, I will add that into my journaling.
yeah, and do that. And actually, somebody asked the question: what were those questions we should ask ourselves? What are we stepping over? What are we tolerating? Is that all in the book? Is he Mr. Right or Mr. Right now?
There's a lot of questions at the end of every single chapter, but I think in stepping over signs, I think that chapter, and I call that my semi-conscious stage, because I actually created that relationship too, but I wasn't clear about what I wanted. And I was very short-sighted. So even though I attracted that person really quickly, I very quickly realized, oh, I wasn't clear in what I wanted. So, so I went from unconscious to semi-conscious to more conscious, and then constantly expanding my awareness. And I think is Olivia's, I think whose hands up?
That was Carrie. So yeah, I'll get there. So beautiful. Let me go ahead, and Alexandra, thank you for voicing what I know lots of other people were thinking and feeling. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Great conversation here.
So good, so good. All right, we got several people with their hands up in the queue. Let me go to Olivia Jones first, then. Who won the book? Is he Mr. Right?
Hold on, Nancy. I might have to come back.
Okay. Are you going to come back? I should go to someone. Yep, she does. All right, let's go to Dr. Roz. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Heather. You are
Dr.
loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished, girl, with them she's and hers. Oh my God. No matter when you come into the room, you're always going to get something. Alexandra, keep hope alive. What Dr. Heather said, if you just get the clarity on every aspect of how Nancy and them teach us for our business, for yourself, honey, you will get that vibrational match that if you have the desire. But Dr. Heather, thank you so much. After being married for 32 years, and something that I did this morning for my husband, even though our schedules are like ships in the night, I thank you for your share. And I am getting your books because I need a refreshment in my life. And I just want to say, thank you, because the clarity, if we don't have clarity of who we are, which Nance and Trish have often said, and I love how they direct us when I first came into the group. If we have, they allow us to speak our will, but they're helping us to position what may have been toxic so that maybe someone else knows they're not by themselves. I love that about Nancy and Trish and Susan and others, how they do that with us. And the very thing of what you're saying about a relationship, we have to have that relational currency and collaborative intelligence with ourselves. When you said that conscious, that unconscious, and it makes me think about Joe Dispenza. If some of y'all know who Joe Dispenza is, the competence and all of that. Oh my gosh, this is good. So I'll be doing my walk for the upper portion of the room replay that I was not able to engage in, but I walked in right on time, especially with Nancy's vibrational match. I love that. I yield the mic, but no, I always have a voice. Hello, hello, wow, WPM sisters, love y'all.
Love it.
I love it. That's Dr. Ross Smile, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, beautiful.
Yes, absolutely beautiful. And let me remind everybody who, if you're here on the phone, grab a pen and be sure to visit consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com/services. Consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com/services. So whether you're in a relationship, whether you're single, whether you're not sure, maybe you've given up completely, give yourself the gift of a new opportunity to open your heart, to make your heart a priority. And I will tell you, when you make your heart the priority, your personal life gets better, your familial relationships get better, your business gets better, and your love life and romance can even get better. So be sure to go to consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com/services. All right, let's go.
Nancy,
Yes,
I
Olivia.
am multitasking, but I just want to say really quickly that this has been so wonderful. I shared in the chat that my grandmother used to say, "Look long in the rock," which is your wedding ring,
Mhm.
and that has been like that tape in my head, and I've never married, but I still have hope for finding that right relationship. And I think of Michelle Obama, because she says, partnering well, finding that right partner and being able to build together. And it so impacts every other aspect of your life, because if you get with the wrong partner, it can impact what you are able to achieve even.
Right.
So this is such a on point discussion and conversation that
And
is
so lucky.
absolutely wonderful. Thank
And
you,
you
thank
won
you, thank you. I just wanted to
the
share
book,
that.
right? Didn't you win the first book?
I did,
Yes,
and
you
I
did.
sent I'm sending my address for email. And the email, is that to you? I'm not sure how I would get it.
I'll take care of it. I got you
You,
covered. I got you and
you,
Al.
oh,
You,
okay, awesome.
I got your
I
back.
love you, Nancy. I'm so excited that it was meant to be. And like I said, my grandmother, that when you start talking about what your grandmother, those
Yeah.
things that you had when you were younger, and my grandmother used to say that all the time. Look long in the rock and she used to say, don't get pregnant. So I never had any children. And another thing that came to mind is like in the mantra that you have from about Think and Grow Rich. There's a mantra that you have, Nancy, and it talks about letting go of the things that your ancestors, that's one of the, a part of the saying that what they thought or believed, and I choose to live my life differently.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that I'm at a place now where it's like, okay, what do I want to create, not what anybody else
And that's a
wants to
beautiful
create.
thing, Olivia, because once you clear out some of the old belief systems, what's really key is that you intentionally, consciously create what gets put in. Because we can clear out our limiting beliefs, and if we don't replace them with more evolutionary, uplifting, and beliefs that serve our highest good, we
Mm,
continue to go back to a default pattern.
mm,
So that's why
it. Okay.
get the book, create that journal, answer those questions, and intentionally, consciously create your love story. So it's so beautiful.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Love it, love it, love it.
Thank you, Olivia. I placed the questions that you guys wanted to consider in the chat as well. And I also put the website in the chat too.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let me copy that to everyone. So there you go. We are good to go. Oh, you're welcome. It's all perfect. I am here to make sure that everybody has their way to be with you so they can consciously create their love stories. And again, website is consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com /services. And you can join the free bi-monthly coaching session she does, or jump right in, my friends, and take advantage of her special to do your relationship blueprint at 50% off. And you get all that information at the website. All right, let's go. We got a couple of more callers in queue, and I'll check in a phone number. I think it's Sherry, 801-824. Did you want to share? From Brandon.
This is Shari. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for the opportunity. I'd like to say that I realized my pattern was because my mom's dad left her family, started a secret family. Every male in our family has left. So my mom's a very strong Jewish woman. I thought I needed to be like that. And whenever I heard the word submissive, I took that as a negative term until I went to a Mind Body Expo, and I had a reading with this man, and he's like, you have got to get out of the completely dominant role in your relationships and learn to let go. And you don't have to compete with a man. You don't have to prove yourself. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So all the relationships that I've had, serious ones, the men, they have left me with my kids and left me financially with nothing. So getting over that was subconsciously that's going to continue, right? But I have worked on that. So bottom line is 2 years ago, I was at a retreat where I'm the chef, and I had this vision of this man coming to me, smiling, beautiful, dark-skinned, bright-smiled man. He put out his hand, and he's like, hey. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, let's go play. So I let that go, and then about a year later, this man walked into my life, and I am more in love. This is definitely my soulmate. It's been magnetic and then repelling at the same time, and I'm learning. I guess the gist of it is learning to understand what exactly Heather's saying about love, in every aspect of my life, and then trusting that and connecting with spirit and being grateful, and also trying to figure out what is success? Do I have to have all those financial things in place? Can I be without but not in lack? And then if he's not, manning up because of what I've been told, those are the pieces that can be a little scary for me. Well, I'm not financially where I want to be, started a new business, blah, blah, blah. I'm happy. I'm scared. I'm moving through it. And then I'm like, well, what if I fall? Is he going to pick me up? Is he going to financially take care of me? So I really like that you brought those into the conversation. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Sherry, thank you for sharing. And I suspect Heather has some input.
First of all, that was a fabulous share. And one of the things I see here in the chat is learn to love your own company instead of seeking someone that will never meet all of your needs. To follow up with Sherry, though, Shari, am I saying that right?
Yes, it's sorry, like
Yes.
sorry. Thank you.
No. I get 100%. It's like, we really have been sold a lot of beliefs. And some of those beliefs are you have to have so much money, or you have to have this, you have to have that. And that's not true. We've all through COVID have learned to value different things.
Mhm.
And so even realizing some of those old beliefs, like you were talking about, Shari, that you realize, hey, I don't have to hold on to these anymore, right? And there is a different opportunity for me going forward. And then I look at Laura's comment here to everybody, and I couldn't agree more. In chapter 11 of my book, the title of it is called Heartbreak. And really what I did was I took a whole year off. I gave my heart a break, and I focused on my own sacred self-love program for a reason, because I thought if I cannot be whole and complete in my own skin, then what hope do I have of attracting somebody that's going to be in partnership with me? So I agree with you 100%, Laura. And not only that, it's not fair for anybody else. Look at those old beliefs. You have to have a man for this or a man for that. Mary Kay said it best, a man's not a plan. So you really want to love yourself and start there. It's the best springboard.
So good. So good. Thank you, Shari. And thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
So good. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and giving your heart the opportunity to be open to even more love than you're currently experiencing. Be sure to visit and get the book, sign up for her classes, her blueprint, go to consciouslycreateyourlovestory.com/services. Heather, thank you so much for following the path that your heart led the way to showing us all how to do this so we can enjoy our lives more. I really love today's conversation, and thank you so much for bringing huge value to our audience today.
Nancy, I just, for everybody on here, just may you embrace loving and honoring yourself first as the foundation for consciously creating your love story. It's your love story. It's nobody else's. That love story can be with yourself, or that love story can be with all the relationships in your life, including yourself. But most importantly, I really wish for all of you that you can just love who you choose to love. Whenever you choose to love them, free from internal or external judgment.
So good. So good. And we all want an opportunity to have another lens to support us in looking at these things, because when we do all of this on our own, we're looking at the events and our timeline through the same lens we've been creating it with. Right. So Einstein also says you can't solve a problem with the same brain that created it. So that's the advantage of working with someone like Heather to see things through a new lens so that you can create something different. It's beautiful. My new friend, I am grateful for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I appreciate you. Awesome. To all of our Wow Wednesday audience, thanks for joining us and tuning in. Be sure to join us. We're here every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Eastern. You can catch all the replays here in our Facebook group or our YouTube channel. And make sure you get your ticket to join us for the upcoming Level Up workshop. It's legendary for a reason. We've been doing this workshop for 12 years. And you're going to love it. The other day, I was with someone who did the Level Up workshop, and I have an exercise that I guide you through on vision. And we talked a little bit about vision today. And when I was with Denise over the weekend, whose life has completely, I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, she came up to me and said, Nancy, I just want to say thank you. That vision exercise that you led at Level Up, when I was still working full-time in IT, the vision I had of what my life could be and would look like, I was shocked when it came out of my mouth, and I didn't even know how any of it would happen. But thanks to you and giving me the way to vision my future, I'm living every aspect of it right now. So join us. Level up your vision, level up your life, level up your heart, and work with Heather as well. Namaste, everybody. Have an amazing day. We will see you again soon, and enjoy this beautiful Wow Wednesday. Bye, everyone. Take care. Bye, Heather.